Hello students, today's topic is lines and signs. So let's discuss about the lines and signs. Introduction. Lines are nothing but the long interspersed nuclear elements, and the signs are short interspersed nuclear elements. These two classes of non-LTR transposons are also called as non-viral retrotransposons. So, non-LTR retrotransposons transpose through an RNA intermediate utilizing a reverse transcriptase and do not have long terminal repeat sequence that are the LTRs at the both ends. Means they belongs to the non-LTR superfamily that are the long terminal repeats sequence. So lines are around 6 kilobase pair long, found in some eukaryotes, insects, plants, mammals and some protozoans. Signs are around 300 base pair long and are found primarily in the mammalian DNA. Okay, the insertion of the sign upstream of the coding region may result in exon shuffling also in mammals. So first let's discuss about the lines in detail. So line present in human genome. The line sequences around 9 lakh copies are present in the human genome. Okay, around 21.1% of the human genome contains the lines. Okay, so long interspersed nuclear element that are also called as long interspersed nucleotide elements are a group of non-LTR or the long terminal repeats. Okay, so these are the retrotransposons which are widespread in the genome of many eukaryotes, as we have already discussed. So they make up around 21.1% of the human genome. Okay. So human DNA mostly having the three major families of lines sequences, that is L1, L2 and L3 families. So these lines are the transcribed into mRNA and translated into protein that act as a reverse transcriptase. So the reverse transcriptase makes DNA copy of the line RNA that can be integrated into the genome at new site. So there are about 1 lakh or 9 lakh to 1 lakh lines in the human genome due to the accumulation of the random mutations here. So around these three types, L1, L2 and L3 elements differ in their sequences, but mechanism of transposition is similar among them, involving an RNA intermediate formation. Only members of L1 family is actively transposed in contemporary human genome. So here the line 1 or the L1 element is the only element that is still active in human genome today. It is found in all mammals. Okay. So L2 and L3 again. So the remnants of L2 and L3 element are found in the human genome. That is, it is estimated that L2 and L3 elements were active around 200 to 300 million years ago only. Unlike L1 elements, L2 and L3 elements lack flanking target site duplication. So this is the difference between L1, L2 and L3. That is, the L2 and L3 elements lack flanking target site duplication. So line elements propagate by so-called the target prime reverse transcriptase mechanism, that is shortly called as TPRT. That is the target prime reverse transcription mechanism, which was first described for the R2 elements from the silkworm, that is also called as Bombyx mori. You might have known about this Bombyx mori, that is the R2 element of this L2 family. It is found in the silkworm. Okay. So signs present in human genome. Now let us discuss about the signs in human genome. This is the second most important class of transposons in human genome, and it is classified as a non-LTR retrotransposons because they do not contain long terminal repeats or the LTR at its ends. Okay, so there are three types of signs common to vertebrates and invertebrates. We'll discuss later about that. Before that, signs present in around 1.6 million sites in human genome and about 13% of the total human DNA. Okay, so science used an RNA intermediate and reverse transcriptase to transpose into new parts of the genome in human. So most of the sign sequences having a single recognition site for the restriction enzyme, that is ALU1 or ALU1, it is AGCT, and are also called as ALU elements or the ALU elements, that are around 1.1 million sites are present in human. So ALU elements are present throughout the human genome between the genes within the introns and in the 3' UTR of some mRNAs, that is the 3' untranslated regions contain the ALU elements. Here the effects of sign transposition, that is the insertion of sign upstream of the coding region, may result in exon shuffling or the changes to the regulatory region of the gene. So insertion of sign into coding sequence of gene can have deleterious effects, and unregulated transposition can cause a genetic diseases that we'll discuss later. The transposition of recombination of signs and other active nuclear element is thought to be one of the major contributions of genetic diversity between the lineages during the speciations. Okay, so the signs do not encode a functional reverse transcriptase and have to rely on the molecular machinery of other transposable elements for the transcription. This is the major difference need to remember. Okay, so signs and other nuclear elements rely on the line 1, that is the L1 protein, for the transpositions throughout the genome. Okay, the line 1 or the L1 is transcribed and the retrotransposed most frequently in the germ line during the early development. As a result, signs move around the genome most during these periods. Okay. So signs transcription is down regulated by the transcription factors in somatic cells. After early development, those traits can cause up regulation of normally silent signs. Signs can be transferred between the individuals or the species via the horizontal gene transfer or through a viral vector also. So this is the structure of the lines, that is having ORF1 and ORF2, that is the open reading frame 1 and open reading frame 2 indicated in blue color, and these ORFs are flanked by the AT rich region at both the ends. Here you can see in this figure, light purple color indicates the AT rich region, whereas the dark black color indicates the target direct repeats, that are the direct repeats are present at the both ends. And these ORF1 and ORF2, which encodes for the particular proteins or enzyme, or this is the protein coding regions of line. So this is the structure of lines in short. So the lines have short direct repeats at both ends, as we have already discussed, and contain two long open reading frames, which are ORF1, that is 1 kilobase pair in length and encodes an RNA binding protein. Okay, so ORF1 produces the RNA binding protein here, and the ORF2, that is around 4 kilobase pair in length and that encodes a dual function protein with the reverse transcriptase, and second is the DNA endonuclease, and it is having the DNA endonuclease activity. Means here ORF2 is responsible for the two enzymes, that is first enzyme is the reverse transcriptase and second enzyme is the DNA endonuclease to cut or to form the nick in between the lines, okay, or the DNA. So line transposition mechanism. So line transpose mainly through the copy and paste mechanism that we have discussed already, the copy paste mechanism where they make copy of themselves and get pasted into the another location or the new site. Then line mRNA is transcribed by the RNA polymerase II and directed by a promoter sequences at the left end. The ORF1 and ORF2 proteins bind line mRNA and carry out its nuclear transport or the transcription. So, the protein encoded by the ORF2 and ORF1 are responsible for its the nuclear transport or the transcription here. ORF2 for its reverse transcription and integration at AT-rich site with the help of diagram we'll see in detail. Then signs are transcribed by the RNA polymerase III and transposably the same copy paste mechanism it is having. Okay. It is mediated again by ORF1 and ORF2 expressed from the line RNA. Okay. Here the main difference between lines and signs is lines ORF is coding for the RNA polymerase II and where sign is coding for the RNA polymerase III here. Okay. Here the mechanism of line transcription. Here in this figure you can see the chromosomal DNA indicated in light blue color whereas the lines are in red color. Here in the structure of lines you can see the poly A tail at the 3' of lines and in orange color you can see the ORF2 protein, that is the DNA endonuclease protein that nicks the DNA. Okay, that is responsible for the nicking or the cutting of DNA. So here in this first step you can see the nicking of the particular DNA or you can see the nick site of the particular DNA which is cleaved by the ORF2 protein, that is the DNA endonuclease. In the second step you can see the priming of reverse transcription by the chromosomal DNA. Here in this black color you can see the priming of this reverse transcription of the chromosomal DNA. Then in the third step here you can see the reverse transcription of line RNA by the ORF2. Here reverse transcriptase enzyme makes the DNA copy of this line RNA. So here you can see in the black color that is the elongation of the line DNA. Okay, by the process of reverse transcription or the enzyme is responsible is reverse transcriptase. Here in the fourth step you can clearly see the line RNA and the line DNA. Okay, that is get formed with the help of the reverse transcription, and in the fifth step you can see the copying of the chromosomal DNA by the ORF2 protein, that is the ORF2 is responsible for the RNA polymerase II enzyme which is copying the chromosomal DNA here. And in the sixth step you can see the insertion of that completely formed line DNA is carried out. So insertion is completed by the cellular enzymes here, example ligase etc. And then this line DNA is get incorporated into the another site within the genome. Okay, and it is again having the direct repeats at its both ends. So here line DNA is flanked by the direct repeats here, and this is the mechanism of line incorporation, or this is the mechanism of copy and paste mechanism of lines. This figure is taken from Lawdish. You can refer that book also. So mutations in lines reduce their efficiency of transposition. Let's discuss how. So most of the lines in the human genome are truncated at their 5' end due to error in reverse transcription. For this reason, around only 0.01% lines are active today. Okay, so this truncation leads to the inactivation in some of the lines. That's why the only 0.1% lines are active today. The average size of line is about 900 base pair, whereas the full length is around 6 kilo base pair long. Around 0.01% of the line sequences in the human genome are full length with intact ORF1 and ORF2, otherwise they are not, and they are around 60 to 100 in total. Similar to lines, many signs also truncated at their 5' end. And signs also have some mutations at their insertion in the germline of an ancient ancestor of modern human. So this mutation leads to the evolution in the humans also. So non-LTR elements in cancer and tumor development means association with the diseases. The historic example of L1 comfort diseases in hemophilia that we'll discuss. A mobile element insertion takes place at a certain characteristic site, some corresponding to the tumor suppressor genes that lead to the cancer, that is the gene. It is the APC gene, that is the adenomatous polyposis coli. This gene is the tumor suppressor gene where the transposition of these non-LTR elements takes place, and that leads to the cancer, that is the thymus or the stomach cancer. Then L1 retro element integration into the tumor suppressor gene, that is the APC gene, that is the adenomatous polyposis coli gene, has been found in colon cancer in patients. Okay. Then L1 retro element insertion into human proto-oncogene, that is the c-MYC, was found in human breast carcinoma cells. So the mutation of this or the transposition of this L1 retrotransposon in the proto-oncogene of c-MYC that leads to the breast cancer. Then the insertion of ALU element or the ALU element in intron of NF1, that is the neurofibromatosis type 1 gene, may lead to the neurofibromatosis also. Okay, so this insertion of ALU elements again lead to the cancer of the neurons. Then the ectopic recombination between the ALU or ALU elements result in chromosomal aberrations associated with the acute myeloid leukemia. That means the ALU elements are also responsible for the blood cancer. So L1 elements as a cancer cell biomarkers. How? Let's discuss. Line 1 methylation is identified as a molecular marker of the prognosis of CM patients in stage 3rd cancer or 3rd stage cancer. So the methylation of line 1 family that leads to the cancer, 3rd stage cancer in patients. Okay. Then L1 elements have been hypothesized as a potential molecular marker in cancer detection, and as L1 activity significantly increases in most human cancers. So this L1 is mainly responsible for the cancer in human. These are some papers regarding the L1 elements and the cancer biomarkers. So global hypomethylation in cells may trigger the activation of L1 element expression, which may cause the activation of some proto-oncogenes. Okay, proto-oncogenes are not cancer causing, but the induction or the inducing of these proto-oncogenes that lead to the cancer, the induction of the proto-oncogenes that lead to the cancer. So L1 methylation pattern can be analyzed to study the degree of carcinogenesis. Okay, this was the conclusion or the finding of some papers. Then the ALU elements or the ALU element, it is a short stretch of DNA originally characterized by the action of the Arthrobacter luteus, that is the ALU restriction endonuclease. The name as the Arthrobacter luteus. So these ALU elements are most abundant transposable elements containing over 1 million copies present throughout the human genome. ALU elements were thought to be selfish or parasitic DNA because their sole known function is self-reproduction. They are called as a parasitic or the selfish because they carry out their self-reproduction. So they have an important role in evolution and have been used as a genetic marker, as we have already discussed the diseases causing by the ALU elements in human. They are derived from the small cytoplasmic 7-SL RNA and a component of a signal recognition particle. Okay. So ALU elements are highly conserved within the primate genomes and originated in the genome of an ancestor supraprimates. So the ALU elements are responsible for the regulation of tissue specific genes, and they are also involved in the transcription of nearby genes and can sometimes change the way of gene is expressed. Okay, the ALU elements are retrotransposons and look like a DNA copies made from the RNA polymerase III. So the ALU elements also contain the RNA polymerase III, that is encoded RNAs. ALU elements do not encode for protein products, but they are replicated as any other DNA sequence. But they depend on line retrotransposon for the generation of new elements. So the ALU elements replication and mobilization begins by the interaction with the signal recognition particle, that are the SRPs, which aid newly translated protein reach final designation. So ALU elements in primates from the fossil records, that is relatively easy to decipher because ALU element insertion events have characteristic signature, that is the both easy to read and faithfully recorded in the genome from the generation or the generation to generation. So the study of these ALU elements thus reveal the details of ancestry because the individuals will only share particular ALU elements insertion if they have a common ancestor. Okay. So most human ALU element insertion can be found in the corresponding position in the genome of other primates, as we have already discussed, and that are around 7,000 ALU insertions are unique to humans. So this was all about lines and signs and the ALU elements. I hope you understand this lecture. Thank you.